Hey guys, welcome to POTS Survival Guide. Today's episode is all about food. So a lot of people with POTS notice that when they eat certain foods or drink certain drinks, their symptoms kind of get a lot worse. And that's definitely not the case for everybody, but that is something that you can be on the lookout for. Some people even realize that they're allergic to something like gluten or dairy or, whatever the case may be. And when they cut that out of their lives, a lot of their symptoms just kind of clear up. So that's definitely not to say that POTS is caused by food allergies, but sometimes food allergies or food sensitivities can make people's POTS symptoms worse. I've heard a lot of people with POTS say that carbs can make their symptoms feel worse. Carbs are harder for the body to digest, so sometimes when people eat carbs with POTS, it just makes their stomach hurt or it just makes them feel kind of gross overall. So that's something to look into. A lot of people end up cutting out gluten or dairy and just feeling a ton better. Since I'm underage, I don't really have experience with this one, but I have heard people say that alcohol is really bad for POTS. It dilates the blood vessels, which makes it even harder to get enough blood to your brain and your heart and other organs. So something that I've heard mixed things about is caffeine. Caffeine's really interesting because it's vasoconstrictive, meaning it makes your blood vessels constrict, which is good for POTS. But it's also dehydrating, which is bad for POTS. So some people notice that any caffeine at all just makes their symptoms terrible. They feel horrible on any caffeine at all. Some people like lots and lots of caffeine. It makes them feel awesome. I'm somewhere kind of in the middle. I usually have about 1 cup of coffee a day, and I usually feel pretty good on that. But anything else, and I kind of start to feel a little bit more lethargic. A lot of my symptoms kind of flare up when I have a lot of caffeine. So that's something to keep in mind. The biggest thing for me is processed foods, foods with a lot of additives, with a lot of food coloring, just anything that you wouldn't find in nature, basically. And that's not to say that I'm like allergic to processed foods, but I just notice that if I have a lot of candy or, some chips or anything really processed, just all of my symptoms seem to flare up. So since cutting that kind of stuff out of my life and just eating a really clean diet, I've been feeling a lot better.